Let me introduce myself. Hello, my name is Putri Nabilla N.S. I'm a student from President University. I'm majoring in international relations. You can find me on my Instagram at benabilanov, or you can reach me on my email below. Thank you.
Finally, we met again in the week 10, that is Political Culture, by me, by Putri Nabilla N.S. And I hope that you are happy and always healthy, yeah? And I'm so happy, I'm so excited about this. It's about political culture. Let's get started. So, political culture is the pattern or of orientation that serves to distinguish between different political practices in society. Heavily influenced by historical experiences and differences in anthropology and society cultural preference. So, in this case, in the first sentence, that is orientation. So, pattern of orientation, it means that values, beliefs, and tradition. So, before we move on, what is culture? So, culture is a soul of political system. It is hard to observe, but we feel the existence of culture. And in this case, in Gramscian view, a political culture may be artificially constructed by the political elite through hegemony, and then dissimilar to Luke's third dimension of power, that is manipulation. If you remember, that is in week 3 or week 2, I don't know. I think week 2. And based on Almond and Verba, The Civic Culture, in 1963, so there is participant, a subject, and parochial. So participant is when the participation is encouraged and political awareness is high, and subject is participation is less encouraged either to represent or fatalism. And then parochial is society is split into tribes and have no desire or ability to partake in politics. So remember about the three classes about the participant, subject, and parochial. And then this is bourgeois class. There's education, mass media, church, civil society, law enforcement, and court. It means that you learn culture based on education, based on mass media, or even the church itself. Church, it means that the prayer plays any religion. So in education, culturally correct in education. In school, we are taught by history, where the history is made by ruling class. Basically, there is a subject that taught how to be a good citizen, like in Indonesia, is PPKN. And in mass media, so media is broadcasting about the culture, for example, like what a good millennial is look like. And in the church, so the church tells or the church tell what the ideal citizen is like, propagated by a religion institution all the time. This is the ideal citizen should do. Like for example, a Muslim or Islam tells you what the ideal citizen is like when you be an ideal citizen. It means that you are also a good Muslim, like a good Muslim. Muslim means a good citizen. Like what will happen if we don't follow the template? What will happen? So basically, the ruling class is shaping effectively, so we follow the template, the education, mass media, and church, whatever it is. And if we don't follow it, what will happen to us? So when you do something mistake or you get out from the boundaries from the template, you will get punishment. The first one is like, basically is a civil society. The punishment is in the form of judgmental, which indirectly has power to police us, but in the law enforcement is to punish you legally if you don't follow the template, and the court is meant to punish you to decide what law or what consequences that you get, what you are deserve. And we have talked about earlier about the hegemony. This is about the hegemony. So the process of hegemony is the process of accepting something that is dominant to the point that even we can't fight it. Culture is something made up for a specific purpose. Culture is something that very changes in society in time. Something is very dynamic. That is hegemony. So, is there any cons to use a political culture? So, by using political culture as a method of analysis, it tends to encourage stereotyping and overgeneralization of the political process. And there are also methodological problems, such as determining which cultural trait is more significant than others. So, how does political culture influence government? You might be wondering about that. So, political culture, regardless of how it is constructed, can shape expectation of citizens and the priorities of government. And liberal cultures tend to adopt more egalitarian system. Conservative cultures tend to adopt a more hierarchical system. Like, for example, the false interpretation on using a political culture is in Indonesia that there is a Japanese tradition and some brown cultures, right? And this kind of culture is very, very different. Like for Japanese leader, it's more Kraton version like Jokowi. And in Minang culture, Minang culture is like a lot of Minang culture in government, right? Woman. So this is why that there is not so this is why culture is difficult to be used. Simplifying is good, but simplifying is not good. Guys, we're gonna talk about a political culture through time. The first one is a hunter-gatherer societies. So in hunter-gatherer era, societies were small and nomadic. Hunter bands were very communitarian. They would be more cooperative because the death of a member would be costly, and suspected that they would also be egalitarian. Each member of the band would view others as being more or less equal. Not here. Man has equal responsibility to women. The group is more cooperative. They view society equally. The inequality is very, very low in hunter-gatherer society. After agricultural society, we go to the appearance of monarchies, and people needed to protect their food sources from invaders or monarch. So monarch or landlords would hire mercenaries or enlist armies to keep their land safe. So because the people need to protect their food, they should have an army or guard. And sometimes war would also be waged with other landlords over farming land because the farming society is more larger and larger. And after the monarchies, we go to the industrial revolution, machine. So societies here become capable of mass production, for example, like production of wood, cloth, machines, you name it. And then hierarchical persisted, but was increasingly challenged. A political relationships were not based on tradition, but rationally, but rationality. And the basic of industrial revolution is economic. The hierarchy here is increasingly challenged. So after the hunter-gatherer society, we go to the agricultural revolution. So because the founded of farming, the one who has more land or capital will be the ruler. This is when it comes to this society. So the society is divided by class. And society become larger and sedentary. They could grow their food without needing to hunt. And society also become hierarchical. If you own the food, you would command more respect in society. This leads to the first inequality of land. And society also become diversified. There would be people skilled in growing grain, fishing, husbandry, and accounting. So after the industrial revolution, we go to the rise of nationalism. Like the old aristocracies were perceived as being corrupt. The masses began to develop a sense of imagined communities. This is a sense of belonging with the larger population. It means that um, I have nationality of being an Indonesian. So basically, we build our imaginary, so it is called by imagined communities. And after that is the push for self-determination after the nationalism, right? So the French Revolution set off waves of nationalism across Europe, even starting of two world wars and dozens of wars of liberation in European colonies. This has also caused by spread of liberal and humanist values of the Enlightenment, like for example John Locke, Rene Descartes, Human Liberty, 1919. And the digital revolution. Societies are become increasingly porous, mobile, and even national political issues are becoming more interconnected, globalized in digital revolution. And populism and return of nationalism. And we go to our final question. What's the gold standard of government? Is liberal democracy the highest standard of government? If it is, are some societies simply not equipped culturally to embrace democracy? Or is it because of other reasons? Based on this, is there a predominant set of golden cultural traits? Maybe another question. So we go to the conclusion. Political cultures give an idea on how societies design their government. There are often historical and social elements that set these cultures. However, with society become increasingly globalized and homogeneous, there may be a point where only a single political culture will be considered good enough. This will be the end of this presentation. Thank you so much. And if you have any advice, comment, or you want to revise it, please contact me via email. And this material is belong to my lecturer, that is Sir Gusti Bagus and Agastia. Thank you so much, sir, for your helping for your materials. Thank you. Thank you, guys. See ya. So, guys, this is the end of the presentation. If you have any comment, advice, or even you want to revise it, please feel free to contact me via email. And I want to give credit that all of this material is below to my lecturer, that is Gusti, Bagus, Dharma, Agastia. Thank you so much, sir, for the material, and you delivered the material so well. Thank you. Have a nice day, everyone.